Hi BookTube. I am here today kind of doing a version of a shelf tour. I'm taking inspiration from the channel Read and Reread. She started doing a little series called The Story of My Shelves, I believe. And I thought that's an awesome way to go about showing off your shelves. So that's what I decided to do. So the basic idea is that you get some random numbers that correlate to a shelf. I just did it on Google. And then you just tell the story of that shelf of books. Yeah, so that's why the camera's a little awkward, because I'm trying to get this shelf here. This is the second shelf down from my just plain fiction. Just plain fiction. Just say that as if it's just like just plain, but it's fiction here. And I'm also going to talk about like some of the stuff I have on my shelves. This is part of my Star Wars collection. There are two shelves up here and down here of like the Star Wars knick-knack things. So yeah, these little pieces here, I'll show them to you. I'll show you Darth Vader because he's cool. These little pieces from the original series of movies, original trilogy. They're from a Monopoly playset. Yeah, so they're the little play pieces. I have them all over the shelves there. I have, of course, Jabba the Hutt. My favorite character is Darth Maul. He's back there. This is actually a speaker. I don't really use it because it's not a very good speaker, but it's the Death Star. Yeah, and then I have just these little, I don't know what these are. I got them at the thrift store. They're from Hallmark. They're itty bitties. So we have C-3PO and Leia and Obi-Wan there. I'm gonna have to move these off the shelves. We have an old Luke figure. Move all the Monopoly pieces off. There we go. Oh, that's Luke. I already showed you Luke. And we have a little C-3PO. These, I'm not sure what these are. These were like little mystery package things. So I thought I had, oh, there's this Trooper and, of course, Boba Fett there. I already pointed out Jabba here. I got most of my Star Wars stuff from either the thrift store, garage sales. Paid $1 for this cup. You know. See, it still has the sticker from the thrift store. I never actually drank out of it because I was afraid the image would come off in the dishwasher. Oh, this is cool. This is the Millennium Falcon, but it shoots little discs. I don't have it turned fully on yet. Should I? Oh, there we go. You hear it? It's ready to go. It's lighting up. I don't know if you saw that. I'm gonna have to go looking for those after. Yeah, just a cool toy. I wonder if there's a date on this one. 1996. Yeah. Of course, this I actually bought when I was in England. Darth Maul, or Darth Vader cup. This is from when the movies came out. Sebulba. I love pod racing. My first experience with Star Wars was the first movie of the prequels. So that's how I was introduced to Star Wars by my grade 7 teacher. He took us to go watch it. There's Darth Maul. Yeah. These came out around the same time as that. So these used to have little like chips that you could put on there and it would play little messages and stuff like that. Lost all the chips, but I still have that. This is pretty cool. This is metal. And it's a little broken here, but this is a ARC 170 Starfighter titanium die-cast thing. There's no date that I can see on that, but I thought it was pretty cool. Oh, and lastly, a little R2-D2 mug back here. Okay, let's get into the actual books here. So this book I haven't read yet. I Can't Tell You by Hilary Frank. This was a gift from my mom for Christmas. And I should bring a table over. I'm not going to edit, so I'm just going to pause and grab a table and I'll be right back. Okay, table acquired. I have somewhere to put the books because these are double stacked shelves. I'm just going to go through the books. If I don't really have much to say about it, I don't have much to say about it. I'm even going to stand over here. It's a little awkward. Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. I haven't read this one yet. I started it, but it just wasn't the right time. I really enjoyed his short stories. I'm really close to the camera. Trying to figure which side. I'm not really prepped. I guess this side is the best. It's got a whole books up here. Lord of the Flies. I absolutely adore this book. One of my favorite books. I've read it every year since I first read it in grade 10. I've reread it. Well, not every year. I shouldn't say that, but I did for a while there. I read it every year. So yeah, an important book to me. Here we have my Graham Greene collection. He is one of my favorite authors. So this is Our Man in Havana. This was the first book of his I read in university. I was taking a film course. We had to read either this one or The Third Man, which I don't have here. Or The Third Man. And watch the movies and write an essay on it. So yeah, that's where I was introduced. I have not yet read The Power and the Glory. I really do want to read that one. Wow, this is an interesting quote. Though the book is written in the deliberate avoidance of emotion, it starts in the reader an irresistible emotion of pity and love. Interesting. Then I got The Quiet American, which I have read. It was okay. The Comedians. I haven't read that one yet. And I do want to read this one. I heard this one's one of his best novels, and we have like Maggie Smith on the cover. Travels with My Aunt. Okay, then I have Transcendent Kingdom by Yagyasi. I have not read this one either. I picked it up because of the hype, but also because it actually does sound interesting to me. And this is also one of my favorite books, Cockroach by Robbie Hodge. I read this book for Canada Reads one year, and I just fell in love with it. You're following a man's descent into madness, and it calls a lot on Kafka's Metamorphosis. Obviously, with Cockroach is the title, the guy believes that he is descending into a cockroach, and I really need to reread this because, as I said, it's one of my favorite novels. So it's due for a reread. Something just fell off the shelf. I forgot these little keychains were stuck on there. So this is The Raw Shark's Text by Stephen Hall. This is a book that's constantly recommended for people that like Game of Thrones. Or not Game of Thrones. I don't know why I said Game of Thrones. House of Leaves. I knew there was an of in there somewhere. So yeah, just it's got some interesting play with the text and stuff like that. So I haven't read it yet. You're gonna notice that's a common theme here. Even if it kills me. This is actually from, I believe it was grade 8, and we had to do book reports. And my friends and I had all read this book, and it caused an argument because the teacher said only one of us could do a book report on it, and I wasn't the one who won that. So argument. Yeah, that's a whole other story. The people, the elementary school friends, drama and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and this is about a girl who develops anorexia. Yeah, one of those like 90s teen novels. And it just fell on the floor. So this is a good book as well. I really enjoyed this one. That's why it stayed on my shelf. The Pearl That Broke Its Shell by Nadia Hashimi. And this is about parallel times in Afghanistan, where it's one girl in the past. I can't remember. Oh, it doesn't give dates. Yeah, in like the far past, becoming. Can't quite remember her story off the top of my head now. Oh yes, okay, it is. I was like, am I getting this right? This is about Basha Bashaposh, which is the custom where if a father has no sons, one of his daughters can take on that role, and they will pass as the son, dress in pants and all that kind of stuff. So it's a interesting look at gender. So it talks about that both in the past and in, I believe, 2007. So like when the Taliban is in charge of Afghanistan there. Okay, and then Mohsin Hamid's The Reluctant Fundamentalist. This was a really good examination of what pushes people towards being extremist and fundamental in their religion, belief, and culture. I really highly enjoyed that book. This is a book I haven't read yet, Godless by Pete Hotman, and this is about a young boy who invents a new god in the water tower in his town, and people start worshipping it. I think it's going to be an interesting look at religion. Lawrence Hill is like an auto-buy author for me. I've read, I think actually the only thing I've read by him is The Illegal, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I do want to read his most well-known, The Book of Negroes, but I have some of his other stuff. He's a great Canadian author, so I haven't read these ones. So this is Some Great Thing, and then Any Known Blood by him as well. And this book, Hilda Hilst, With My Dog Eyes. This is a really good book. She's Brazilian, and this is about a man going through what is coded as schizophrenia. So it doesn't explicitly state it, but like you're following in his mind as things start to deteriorate in his mental health. And I have one singular tab in here, and I'm just wondering what it is. So I'm gonna His eyes went blank for a moment, as though you and I were no longer there, as if he himself were another person, his mouth gaping like he couldn't breathe, and he said it all at once. It's such an effort to try not to understand. It's the only way to stay alive, trying not to understand. Interesting. This is another childhood book that I read over and over again, Dinah and the Green Fat Kingdom. And this is about a girl. She's overweight. And I think this was written in... When was this published? 1978. So, like, bullying, lots of issues with her mother and stuff like that, and her family, you know, trying to bully her basically into losing weight. And she invents this kingdom that she goes to where she's the queen because she's the fattest of them all. So, yeah, it's a really interesting book. The way it ends is, you know, 1970s. You can imagine. Then I have The Kite Runner. I have not read this book yet. I know it's a classic. It's on my shelf to read. Then I love Zora Neale Hurston's writings. I've read, Their Eyes Were Watching God, and a collection of short stories. Can't remember what it was called, but I also have this one, Seraph on the Swanee, which is one of her lesser known works. Yeah, so there's that one. Gail Jones, this is Mosquito. This is I believe where is she from? She's from Kentucky. So there's that one. And then we have some James Joyce here. Ulysses is not on the shelf here. Ulysses is placed somewhere else. I'm also currently reading Ulysses, but it's normally not on the shelf here anyways. So I have not all his other ones. Dubliners is with the short story collection, and then I have his other ones here. So the next one would have been A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. I studied this in school. Oh, there's a singular tag here. What's this tag? What is this tag? Oh, and it's highlighted handily too. You talk to me of nationality, language, religion. I shall try to fly by those nets. Probably had to do that for an essay. It's been a while since I've read A Portrait of an Artist. And then I have Stephen Hero, which is the original manuscript of A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. I haven't read this yet, but I have like a James Joyce collection. I have a love-hate relationship with the man. hate the man, love the work. Basically. Finnegan's Wake. I'm not even going to try and read this, I think. But, oh look. There's some playing with words right there. But yeah, just don't think I'm going to get around to it. But I have it, because I have the James Joyce collection. Oh, there's all. I haven't read any of these books. Elegy for Kosovo by Ismail Kaderi. Where he is Albanian. Yeah. So I have quite a few of his works when I was looking for books from around the world. And then I got Zorba the Greek by Nikos Kazantzakis. I'm saying that's Greek. This is a Greek. This is one of those classic novels from around the world that keeps popping up too that I haven't read yet. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Another one of my favorite novels that I haven't reread in a while. And I picked this up because of Fall Out Boy. Pete once, when I was obsessed with Fall Out Boy, said, this book was a big inspiration for him, so I read it and it's actually pretty good. I wish I had tagged it. I have a feeling that this may show up on a TBR sometime shortly, because I've been thinking a lot about it lately. And then I have his other book. I haven't read this one yet, but this is The Dharma Bums. I actually think I got this from a free little library, so that's cool. We have The Swallows of Kabul by Yasmina Khadra. Haven't read this one yet. And Thomas King is another auto-buy author for me. So you can see. Yeah, checking there. This is all Thomas King, plus there's some more on nonfiction and mysteries. I love his work. I first discovered him through The Inconvenient Indian. And then, I first discovered him through his CBC Massey lectures. And then The Inconvenient Indian. And then I read The Back of the Turtle and got into his fiction as well. So this one's Truth and Brightwater. Haven't read that one yet. This is Indians on Vacation. I believe this is his latest one. So I haven't read that one either. Haven't read this. Haven't read that. Green Grass Running Water. I have not read that one yet either. I highly recommend you check out Thomas King. He is a great author in general. So this is on the back of the Turtle, which is about a scientist, an indigenous scientist, whose discovery kind of leads to a big environmental disaster. And we follow a bunch of people, including this really, I wonder if there's a, was it Sunny? Oh, Sunny. He is a really, endearing, weird character. I really liked him. Okay. So now we're finally in the back. I got Obasan by Joe Kogawa. Is this Canadian? Yes, it is. I thought so. So Canada, and Canadians during the Second World War interned a lot of the Japanese population. And so this is the story of that. We got Satan Tango by Laszlo Krasnohorke. I really enjoyed what I did read of this when I was reading it on ebook. It's one of those books I didn't finish, but just because it just wasn't the right time for me to keep reading it. But I do want to get back into it. This is The Incendiaries by R.O. Kwan. I don't know where or how I got this, but it's still on my shelves. It survived the massive purge that I did recently. Just gonna stick these over here for now. This one, We Measure the Earth with Our Bodies. This is a Tibetan novel. I haven't read it yet, but look at that cover. I really love that cover and the shininess. This is another book that was on my Around the World authors. By Night the Mountain Burns by Juan Thomas Avila Laurel. I believe he is Equatorial Guinea. Yeah, that's where that one's from. Then I have A Jest of God by Margaret Lawrence and The Diviners by Margaret Lawrence. I read The Stone Angel, I want to say is the other book. Yes, that I read and really liked. So I haven't read these ones yet, but she's a great Canadian author. haven't read this one either. A Year Abroad by Chang Ray Lee. But he sticks out in my mind as someone I've heard a lot about, but I can't pinpoint it exactly. So, yeah. And this is actually my mom's copy of To Kill a Mockingbird from when she read it in high school. It is well beaten. And then I read it in grade 9. And so yeah, this book is well loved and well highlighted. I've read it multiple times, as you can tell by the different colors of highlighter in there. So yeah, on that whole page was highlighted, wasn't it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's a really old, nice copy, hardback, bright orange, spine's missing. Let me see, what year was this one published? Yeah, the cover's falling over. Someone was playing a Pokemon, I don't know if you can see that, Pokemon Hangman, with guessing themselves. Probably me. This version is from 1974, this book, but it's been read so many times. Doris Lessing, The Golden Notebook. There was a booktuber, and I can't remember her name. She was Irish. That's about I remember, and I can picture in my mind. I'm horrible with names, so I apologize. But she talked about this book and how she didn't like it, but the way that she described the things that she didn't like, I was like, actually, that sounds like things. Those grammar. Anyway, what she didn't like about it was what I did like about it. So I decided to pick that up. This is another Around the World book, written in black by Kit Lim. They are from Brunei. This book I picked up, Ship It, by Berta London, because it sounds like it's about supernatural. And I love supernatural, in case you haven't picked that up. Yeah, so like 16-year-old fangirl obsessed with the show Demon Heart. Forrest is an actor in Demon Heart. What is it? Comic-Con. Forrest laughs off Claire's assertion that his character is gay. So that really happened in the supernatural fandom, was that there's a lot of discussion, not always friendly, around the character of Dean being bi, at least, and in a relationship with the other character, Castiel. But it's never made canon in the show. So that kind of struck me as like, that sounds like, and like Demon Heart, this sounds like a supernatural thing. I haven't read it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Black Moses by Elaine Mabanku. Yeah. I came across him on some list, and I ordered a bunch of his books. So I got Memoirs of a Porcupine and Black Moses by him. Have not read them yet. Two Solitudes. Amy from the Dusty Bookshelf. I do remember that name. This is one of her favorite authors, Hugh McLennan. Yeah, sure. And this is a Canadian author. I believe this is about Quebec separatism. So if you don't know, Quebec is the only, it's not the only French-speaking province. Like, there's French speakers throughout Canada, but it is the one where, like, French is the first language. And, like, you go there, you should be speaking French. And they've kind of always wanted to, not kind of always, I'm really not explaining it. This is not a video about political explanations of Canada and separatism, but Quebec at one point wanted to separate itself from Canada and become its own nation. So that's what this is about. And then I got another book by him, The Watch That Ends the Night. Okay, seems to be a love story. This one, Giant by Ega Maximovska. I don't know why I have it, but it still really appeals to me. I think I got this at Word on the Street a few years ago. Celia Song by Lee Miracle. Lee Miracle, I read her work on feminism, indigenous feminism. Can't remember the name of it, but I really enjoyed it. So when I saw that she wrote some fiction, I decided to buy it. I have Gabriel Garcia Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude. It's a classic. Haven't read it yet. Then I have one copy of The Babysitter's Club, the first book in the series. Just as a nod to, like, I think I read, like, all of this plus, like, the spin-offs and stuff like that, too. So I just have, like, the first book on my shelf. This is kind of an acknowledgement that this has an important part in my development as a reader. So The Babysitter's Club, if you don't know, is about a group of, I believe, there were like 12 or 13. They were in 7th grade, so 11 or 12. And they form this club where different families can phone in and ask for babysitters, and they'll match them up with one of the group. Then we have In the Country of Men by Hisham Matar. This was for, again, my Around the World, to make sure that I have the books on my shelf so I can read them. And this is, oh boy, I can't remember where Hisham Matar is from. So there's that one. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. I have Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, because her name's Amy too. Can't remember the channel that she had. I don't believe she's doing it anymore. But she went through and did a whole, like, in-depth dive into this, and so I bought the book in anticipation of watching those videos, and I think they were released quite a few years ago. But I will get around to it. Carson McCullers' The Heart is a Lonely Hunter is one of my favorite books. So this is her other books, like a compilation of them. I do believe, yes, I do have the copy of The Heart is a Lonely Hunter that I have read. It's about, mostly we follow a believe, is she the girl deaf? Or she befriends someone who's deaf. But it's about just being weird and accepting who you are. Yeah. And I got Claude McKay's Banana Bottom. Just sounded appealing to me. Jamaica Beta plant is adopted and sent to England from Jamaica by white missionary benefactors and returns to her home village of Banana Bottom 7 years later, a beautiful, cultured young lady. So, I wonder how that's going to explore. I'm guessing it's going to explore colonialism in this microcosm. I have 2 books here by Zakes Munda. And I picked up this one first just because, like, that cover's cool, and Ways of Dying is an interesting title. And then I guess I picked up this one. I think this is, again, for Around the World Challenge. South Africa. David Mitchell. This is the one in this section because all his other books are different genres. Number 9 Dream. Yeah. And then we have my Toni Morrison. Now this is going to cause some problems here because my shelves don't have walls. They're see-through, and if I don't pull the books out and they slide in a certain way, they're going to fall off the shelf. So I have Paradise by Toni Morrison. I think this is one of the newer ones. 1998. So maybe not that new. I lost a box of books in our move. I'm very disappointed. Because they did contain the last books that I got as a gift from my Opa before he passed away. So, like, really, really upset about that. But it also contained my copy of Beloved as well, which I was annotating. So, like, that's how I knew, like, those 4 books being missed. The 3 books were the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I need another copy. I need to find another copy to put on my shelf. But I do have The Bluest Eye, Jazz, and Sula on my shelf. This book I actually bought back in university. I didn't want to buy my books new. So I got the list of books and I went through, like, different used bookstores and thrift stores trying to look for them. And I got the wrong book list. Got the wrong course. And I used their book list. So I bought this way back when I was in university, and I've been meaning to read it ever since, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And then on here we have, last book on the shelf is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. I have read one book. I don't own it. I got it from the library. But I did enjoy his writing. And I know he has problems with the way he depicts women and stuff, but I am aware of that, and I feel like I can still enjoy his writing style with that awareness. So yeah, that is one of my very many bookshelves. There's 25 altogether here, 25 shelves, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 book shelves, like actual shelves, not the whole case in my room. So this is going to keep me very busy. It's going to take a long time to do it, but I really like sharing it in this format. Let me know what you thought of my books, and I'd be interested in seeing other people do this as well. So feel free to do so, and thank you for watching.